Welcome back to Eye on South Asia. Now let's move on to our next story.
Yeah, continuing from the story where we left, this convention that took place in India, our own former ambassador to US, Honorable Lalit Mansingh was there, and he was of the opinion which is contradicting what Mani Shankar Iyer was saying. He said just being friendly and posturing through diplomatic overtures and relationships, you cannot always solve every problem. And he's referring to what happened in 9/11. 60,000 people lost their lives because of the attack in US on the World Trade Center for no reasons.
Right.
And then in India, so he feels that, it's not a one shoe fit all type of a situation that you have to be purely diplomatic. Sometimes you need to assert.
And he's saying that he wants, like you said, depending on the situation, to investigate what's going on and
Right.
not just say, okay, everybody's our friend, let's just kind of use the same treatment for every situation.
Which is exactly right. He's saying, let's evaluate, and sometimes there is a situation we need to, twist their arms and make sure they understand we mean business.
And he also cited the 26/11 Mumbai attacks as well, and he brought in, Pakistan and just the fact that some things have not been investigated to, its fullest potential
Right.
In that case. So he was just saying, why just kind of do a blanket statement?
Correct. And with him was Bharat Karnad, and who is a very respected, actually India's national security advisor. And he also mentioned that India has been constantly asking for a Security Council presence in the United Nations, despite getting a support from majority of the countries and having established its position as one of these superpowers today. India can never become a great power and assume a seat unless it assumes hard power status. So he's mentioning this so clearly. He's saying, look, you just cannot be the Mr. Nice Guy. It is important that you need to strengthen yourself. You need to be looking strong. You should have a might, which is your defense should be strong, and you should be seen as a power, and that will help you really go make your position stronger, and
Right.
including getting the Security Council position that India has been looking for some time. Our own ambassador Nirupama Rao, she has been constantly traveling all over the country, meeting people in the community, meeting the state governments, going to universities. Now came back, this is on January 25th, she met with Secretary of State Mrs. Hillary Clinton and kind of exchanged notes with her. She said, look, we have to maintain the momentum in our bilateral relationship and our strategic dialogue. India obviously has constantly, it's I would say, I won't call it a love-hate relationship. It's still not a perfect friendly relationship with US, but it's in that direction because both countries have their own reservations and their own priorities in our region.
It kind of ebbs and flows through, positive
But
and
it's
negative.
moving in perfectly right direction, and the most important part she said is that we need to continue to maintain the momentum. And that is very important, and this is basically a strategic dialogue because of US interest in the subcontinental region.
Right.
And she said also that it's very important that we must continue the efforts to chart way forward so that we can bring the benefits to India for the American nuclear technology that has been brought into India after the nuclear treaty, which is kind of run into a little bit of issue right now. And they also talked about the sanctions that US and Europe have put against Iran, and India has not subscribed to that. India has said, I'll continue to get oil from Iran and I have a right to make my own decision. They don't agree with the US philosophy to, I won't call it arm twist, but with the sanctions go against Iran and kind of stifle them.
Right.
And she also talked about the new Silk Road to Afghanistan, which is very important for the relationship between the two countries, and other issues like Burma, which was brought in, discussed about. I think the two ladies are very important, and very soon I think we'll be getting another lady from Pakistan to US as the ambassador. So moving to the other part of the country, which is California, Ricky Gill, who is hardly 25, he's actually not yet 25, is announced his candidacy to run for the Congress, a congressional race, and he'll be contesting from the California's 9th district, which is represented by Democratic candidate Jerry McNerney. And he is, he's like a college kid if you look at him.
And he's actually still in college. He will graduate this year with a law degree.
Exactly. And he has got a very good support from several politicians, including Jeff Bush, who was the former governor of Florida, and very important state. And he's also brother of former president of US, George Bush, and son of senior George Bush.
Right.
Ricky has also received good support from other people, which include Nikki Haley, who is the governor and also of Indian descent in South Carolina. He also got a great support from somebody very, very important like Secretary George Shultz, who was the former Secretary of State, a very decorated person, and that position is very important in terms of foreign relations. So he also got support from former Representative Norman Shumway. So it's pretty interesting to see that Indians continue to be getting into the mainstream race for politics, whether it is again a councilman, a mayor. We have several of them, governor, Congress, Senate. Very interesting, assemblyman. So we have it's coming around now. Indians are getting into the political arena, which will help us a lot.
Yeah, and typically in the past, it's been that funding and fundraising has been an issue where these candidates don't have that that image in the media. They don't have that exposure.
Right.
But now we have Ricky Gill, who's like a fundraising superstar. And so they're really progressing in that front.
So good luck to Ricky Gill. We'll watch him as he gets into the race. A little bit I would like to touch once again on the Salman Rushdie issue, which has really brought us a little bit, if I can call, shame. On the literary festival while you were traveling in India, this man was denied to present his speech and address it's a very respected event, literary festival that was in Jaipur. And suddenly, because of political reasons from a particular party or the government, and also from some protests from Muslim community because of his Satanic Verses, the book he wrote several years ago, and he was not allowed to come in. And he was given all kinds of stories, which we talked about earlier, that there is a threat to his life, which eventually when everybody checked out and found out there was none whatsoever. And then they set up a video link for him, in which he will address the group through a video link live on screen. And just about a few minutes before the link was to start operating and he was to come live on screen, they came and the organizers came and the owners came. They said there is some kind of an order that we cannot do this because there is a mob or there is a group who is coming to attack us. So to avoid that, we need to stop this. Very unfortunate. Salman is an internationally decorated, of course, a very talked about, if I may say, controversial character.
Right.
But that doesn't mean he should not have been allowed to speak and join at this festival.
Right, at a literature festival, which is supposed to be celebrating all different kinds of literature and writing.
And he is a celebrity in that space. Moving on to our neighbors, Bhavna, it's a very difficult situation as you look at it. Prime Minister of Pakistan is kind of at loggerheads with the military regime, and he took them on, Yusuf Raza Gilani, and then suddenly he felt himself cornered because he was siding with the Pakistan President Asif Ali Zardari, because both are on the civilian side and they were both at least taking on the military regime, which is General Kayani and Ashfaq Kayani, and also the ISI Lieutenant General, which is not acceptable. You have to agree that in Pakistan, the military and the government have realized that the fighting will not serve anyone's purpose. And perhaps they have to agree that military makes all the decisions, if it is to be believed. But from broader understanding, they run the country.
Right.
And as it is, the armies faced a lot of flack from the common men or the civilians that Osama bin Laden was killed on their ground, a few miles from their defense academy. So there is a lot of furor, and thus President Gilani has made a statement. He says, I want to dispel the impression that the military leadership acted unconstitutionally or violated any rules. This is, and then the current situation cannot afford conflict among the institutions, which is the two institutions, the civil institution and the military institution. So he backed off, and let's hope there will be peace, even though I think it's a very current news that he has been summoned by the Supreme Court for the contempt of court. So it seems he's in quite a bit of challenge.
Right.
While he's fighting battle, his companion, the president, Asif Ali Zardari, who has been constantly running into trouble from December onwards, in and out of Pakistan, running to Dubai on pretext or maybe reality of health issues, he went and met with the president of Myanmar, which was formerly called Burma. He met with President Thein Sein, and basically to discuss on establishing a stronger ties between the two countries, because both are in the Southeast Asian region.
Right.
So, Bhavna, continuing on the stories on the Muslim communities, as we talked about the bombing of the petrol bombs, somebody hurled them in the mosque we talked about. Now we have an issue. The community has taken very strongly against the New York Police Commissioner, who has been very indiscreet, insensitive kind of about this particular community, and the civil rights group has been demanding his resignation from Ray Kelly, and they're very upset with him.
Yeah, and it's in specific reference to inflammatory anti-Muslim films shown as a part of training
For the police academy.
Right.
And both Paul Brownie and Ray Kelly knew about it. It's called Third Jihad, and it's absolutely blatantly bigoted and a hate-filled, which is not acceptable, and CNN has categorically commented on it. And they have made a statement to the mayor of New York, and they said this is really, really hurting our sentiments. We are very hurt, and we want him to resign. But mayor, of course, has taken a good stand. He has said anything like this doesn't help Ray Kelly's credibility. And actually, Ray Kelly has eventually apologized to the community that he did not know the content of the film, and the moment he found out, he has withdrawn it.
Right.
Now, God only knows how could this film reach this far, and the police commissioner doesn't know about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's, as these people, are saying, the controversy has moved beyond poor judgment, and things like ignorance and all that, all those excuses, they can only go so far,
So anyway, since he has said sorry, so we have to move on and hope we watch on him and he watches for himself that it's not repeated.
All right, we're going to have to take another short break, but we'll be right back on Eye on South Asia.